We've run the Ultra Glide a good 50 miles plus on a big mix of terrains in changing weather conditions. So I think it's about time that we gave this new trail running shoe from Salomon the full Run4Adventure review treatment. Welcome back folks, I'm Lloyd Purvis and this is Run4Adventure. Hope you're all managing to keep fit and well out there and training hard. As this video goes live, we should be on a really exciting road trip to Chamonix, France for UTMB week. So hopefully the mountains are being kind to us. Any Eagle Eye viewers may have noticed, or if you follow our social media platforms, that I've managed to get hold of an early tester model of the Vertix 2 from Coros. First impressions, really good. We're going to have this watch out at Chamonix in the mountains, giving it a thorough testing, and then we'll be back with a full in-depth review. If this watch is capable of doing everything Coros says it can do, then we may well be looking at a game changer. But let's get back to today's video, and in the review we are taking a look at a new trail running shoe from Salomon with a deeply cushioned midsole that has been designed for ultra running. So let's dive into the video and give you a few facts and figures on the all new Ultra Glide. The shoe retails in the UK for £130 and weighs in at 298 grams in the men's UK 9.5. It runs off a 6mm heel offset, so we have 38.2 under your heel and 32.2 under your forefoot. The shoe is available in 5 different colorways for men and 4 different colorways for women. When it comes down to sizing, I've found it true to size with average width in the toe box. We put some good miles into the shoe, including running the Salomon Serpent Trail 50k in some challenging weather and underfoot conditions, especially for the middle of summer. But before we go into how the shoe has performed, let's give you a few more details about the fabrics used and the construction of this new deeply cushioned trail running shoe. Starting with the upper first, and Salomon have used a breathable 3D mesh upper construction to enable optimum airflow to give you that comfortable wearing experience. We have Salomon's brilliant SensiFit technology worked into that upper, which cradles the midfoot with a banded tongue to give you that nice sort of secure, snug and personalised fit. Speaking of the tongue, it's very padded in that upper, as is the heel cup and ankle collar, and you don't get any conventional lace system in the shoe. So we've got Salomon Speed Lace, which is this corded lace with a plastic lock-in mechanism on it, so makes a very strong lace system, very easy to get in and out of your shoes with a one-pull function. And then finishing off that speed lace, you get a nice pocket in the tongue so you can tuck that lace away so you're not going to catch it on anything when you're out hitting the trails. Finishing off the upper, we've got some nice structural overlays working from the back end of the shoe all the way around the toe box to offer good levels of durability. And then we've got a nice rubberized toe bumper to offer good levels of protection from trail debris. Working down to the part of the shoe that excites me the most, and it is this new oversized surge foam midsole. This surge compound has been developed to be lightweight and responsive by using a blend of EVA and OBC foam, but it should also offer long-lasting cushioning, outstanding levels of bouncy energy return to help with muscle fatigue as you rack up the miles. Also worked into that midsole is Salomon's reverse camber, which basically means that midsole has a slightly rockered geometry, just to try and smooth out that transition as you make your way through the toe off. Last but not least, working our way down to the Contagrip outsole on the Ultra Glide, and we've got a pretty aggressive lug depth and layout. That outsole is coated in Salomon's Contagrip MA rubber to offer good levels of traction on a big mix of terrains and weather conditions. I have found in the past that some of the rubber outsoles on Salomon shoes have been a bit sketchy in wet conditions on wet rock, so I was super interested to test this out on some nice muddy wet trails here in the UK, and I definitely got those at the Salomon Serpent Trail. And I almost forgot that you get that Pro-Feel film integrated into the midsole, so that's designed to filter out any rocks or sharp surfaces just to give you a more comfortable underfoot experience. So there you have it guys, the all-new Salomon Ultra Glide, a shoe I was really excited about after our first run, first impressions video. So let's Let's see if I'm still impressed with the performance after putting a lot more miles into the shoe. Let's go through the things that I've really enjoyed about running in the Ultra Glides and maybe highlight a few things we feel could be slightly tweaked. But let's start with the good bits first. The new Surge midsole is probably the part of the shoe I was most hyped about, because I've been finding over the years that Salomon trail shoes have just been getting firmer and firmer and firmer, to the point where they just didn't have enough cushioning for me, especially in the summer on my longer runs. I am happy to report that's not the case with this midsole. I've found it really well cushioned, quite deeply cushioned and quite soft, but not too soft that you lose all that connection to the trails underfoot. That rocker geometry, or as Salomon like to call it, a reverse camber, worked really well in that midsole. Super smooth as I made my way through toe off through transition, and very efficient as I upped the miles. I do have to say, you also get that Profil film worked into the midsole construction. It's there to sort of offer you that underfoot protection, kind of work like a rock plate, but there was a couple of times when I did feel sharp stones through the cushioning under my forefoot, so I'm not convinced how much protection that actually gives. The outsole and the outsole rubber has performed really well, and we've tested it on a big mix of underfoot conditions, largely thanks to the Serpent Trail 50k. So dry trail, rocky trail, sandy conditions, muddy trail, and even knee-deep boggy trail. And I've been happy with the levels of grip on all those surfaces. And I have to say, when it comes down to grip, this has to be one of the most consistent Salomon outsoles that I've ever run with. Moving on to the upper, and it's been really good to be back in a Salomon shoe with that Sensi Fit technology. Felt super dialed into the midfoot of that upper, really snug, really well held. I've always found that the Salomon fit works well for my foot shape. It almost feels like the shoes are kind of tailored for me. So just a comfortable upper in general. Nice levels of padding and cushion around the ankle in the heel cup. Good levels of padding in the tongue, and if anything, maybe a bit too much padding in that tongue. Hasn't caused me any issues, but it is pretty thick, and it does make that midfoot of the shoe quite shallow. So if you're quite deep at the midfoot, I think it might be a bit of a squeeze to get in the shoe. Lastly, you get a great bit of protection from this substantial rubberized toe bumper, a feature that I always look for in my trail running shoes. There's nothing worse than kicking a stone or a hidden rock when you're moving at speed out on the trail, so a bit of protection always tends to soften the blow. As you can probably tell, I've really enjoyed my time in the Ultra Glides, and it's so good to be back in a Salomon shoe that offers a nice level of plushness underfoot, paired up with that great Sensi Fit technology in the upper. But there is one thing that hasn't impressed me that much when it comes to the design of the shoe, and it has to be the placement of that lace pocket on the tongue. Now, I've always been a big fan of the speed lace system, and it's always worked really well for me, but surely Salomon could see there was going to be an issue with the placement of this pocket on the tongue. The laces come up high, so as you pull them laces down and lock the shoe down, it really does close that pocket off and make it very difficult to get the lace in there. At the end of the day, this is called a speed lace from Salomon. It's supposed to speed things up, not make them fiddly and make them take longer. So I think it is a little bit of a design flaw, and it definitely needs some rethinking when it comes to the placement of that pocket, and hopefully we'll see an update on the Ultra Glide 2. But that is the only real negative I could come up with, so that has to be a positive thing. But we've reached that time in the review when we need to get some points on the Run4Adventure board. So let's start scoring the Salomon Ultra Glide, and let's start with the price first. With the price of running shoes going a little bit mad at the moment, with all the brands sticking carbon plates in their shoes, £130 seems pretty reasonable, but I still think it's quite a lot of money for a trail running shoe. And obviously I'd always like our running shoes to be a bit cheaper, a bit more affordable. I suppose when you compare the price point to other shoes that it's up against, it's around about the same kind of cost. So when it comes down to price for the Ultra Glides, we're going to give it a 7 out of 10. Swiftly moving on to comfort and performance, and the shoe has performed well on both fronts. I've really enjoyed my experience in the new Ultra Glide. The one thing I will say, when I used it at the Serpent Trail 50k, towards the end of that run on my slightly longer foot, the big toe was feeling a bit sore, and I did have a little bit of a blister at the end. That can obviously happen while running that kind of distance, but I actually think a lot of it came down to the fact that this toe protector is very substantial, and it makes the toe box of the shoe very rigid. So For me personally, if I was running any longer than 50k in the shoe, 50 miles, 100 miles, I would creep it up a bit in size. So I'd probably go up half a size to a UK 10, just to give me that little bit of wiggle room in the toe box, especially once my feet have expanded. This is just a personal thing. The shoe has still run great. So we're going to score it for comfort and performance a very impressive 9 out of 10. Up last is durability, and this has been an issue in the past for some Salomon trail running shoes, with the uppers breaking down quite quickly. So far, so good with the Ultra Glides. No early sign of wear on that outsole, holding up really well, and definitely no sign of wear on the upper, even at the flex points of that shoe, which can be a weak part of a Salomon trail running shoe. So looking good so far. I have heard a few people say that maybe that midsole cushioning flattens off a bit after 100 miles. I'm not quite at 100 miles yet, and it still feels nice and cushioned, but I suppose we'll find out the further we go in the shoe. But we're going to give it a well put together 8 out of 10 for durability. So tallying all the points up at Run4Adventure, the new Ultra Glide from Salomon scores a pretty solid 24 out of 30. As far as the colorway goes, I'm a big fan of the blue and red colorway, although it doesn't look that blue anymore because it's been running through muddy, boggy trails and it's hard to get that mud out. But coming in 5 different colorways for men and 4 different colorways for women, there should be a colorway out there to suit everyone. So it is a thumbs up when it comes to looks. When it comes to comparisons for the Ultra Glide, there's quite a few shoes out there to choose from. That deep cushion midsole trail running shoe seems pretty popular at the moment. So you've got Hoka's Speedgoat 4, you've also got the new Endorphin Trail from Saucony, and Innovate's Trailfly Ultra G 300 Max. They'll all give you that sort of deep cushion midsole trail running experience. And maybe the all new Cascadia 16 from Brooks. Haven't run in the shoe yet, so I don't know how it feels, but this has gone through a big overhaul and it is a very different shoe now compared to the previous model. So we got a much deeper level of cushioning in that midsole. We got a more aggressive lug pattern on that outsole, and when you look at the base of the shoe, it looks very similar to a Hoka Mafate. I've got to say, it's a great looking shoe in this sort of yellow, orange, black colorway. It's going to be coming out to Chamonix with us. We're going to get some good trail miles in it, and I can't wait to put it on and take it for a spin. But I've definitely gone on long enough. I've been rambling on, so let's wrap this review up with a quick conclusion. So if you like a bit of plushness in your trail shoes and you want that deep cushion midsole, you want a trail shoe that's going to cross over to a big mix of terrains in varying weather conditions, or I will say if you've tried deep midsole cushion trail shoes before and you've not got on with them because of that loss of connection, then you do still really feel connected in the Ultra Glide. So it's definitely worth checking out. That is, if you can find any stock of the shoe, because stock is very thin on the ground and I don't know when that's going to change. But that's it, guys. That is a wrap on another full in-depth review at Run4Adventure. Really hope you enjoyed it. Really hope you found it helpful. You know what to do by now, guys. If you've enjoyed it, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And get in the comments if you've got any questions. I've left links in the description if you want to find out any more information about the Ultra Glides. But for now, guys, I've got a train to catch. I'm heading to Chamonix, so au revoir for now. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay safe, keep on running.